This is called the DIPF curve, and the P to F curve is really the big breakthrough with condition monitoring. It came out of the airline industry. They used to tear down aircraft at a certain amount of passenger airline miles and replace everything down to the airframe and rebuild it. What they found when they came out with the 747, it was just way too much to bring all the aircraft down to the bare airframe based on time or based on passenger miles flown. So they developed on-condition monitoring. In other words, the condition of the asset would determine the maintenance of it. So whether there was any maintenance needed or not. In fact, the DC 8 was developed with standard kind of old school maintenance, and when it came in for overhaul, there were 337 components that had to be overhauled. When they used this methodology, adding condition monitoring and reliability, as Pierre referred to it, they brought the next version, the DC-10, down to 7 items during that same overhaul. So in other words, the DC-8 had 337 items. They were to be overhauled whether they needed it or not, versus 7 components that needed it. And that's what they got from condition monitoring and predictive maintenance. And so that's the breakthrough that happened. One last point before we start the discussion. A little geeky, a little technical, I apologize, but the top 3 patterns, the pattern A, pattern B, and pattern C, those are for preventive maintenance. Those are time-directed, usage-directed, mileage-directed, hour-directed, some form of time measurement. Those are the failure patterns. Your assets fail on those patterns less than 20% of the time. So what the message, and then underneath there, those are 80%, the random, pattern D, pattern E, pattern F, which basically means it could fail on day 1, day 100, or day 1,000 with basically the same probability. So the message to take away from this is that most of your assets fail on a random basis, not on a timed basis. Life would be easy if our assets would cooperate with us and just fail on a nice, orderly, timed basis. But they don't do that because many things cause an asset failure. So they're random. The pattern is random. It doesn't mean they don't wear out. It doesn't mean they don't fail. It just means that it's random. So how can we battle that random failure? And then what percentage of time should we be using time-directed preventive maintenance versus predictive? Asset health, monitor, and predict. And that's what we're going to discuss. I just wanted to set the table before we began that discussion. Let me invite my friends from Interlock up here to the stage, please.